So there's this brand new book by Malcolm Gladwell called Talking to Strangers. And in this book, there's an incredible quote. Now, the context is about how humans tend to default to the belief that other people, even evil people, are telling the truth, and about how much it takes to really finally realize that you're being deceived. So this quote is based on research by T. Levine, and it says, quote, "I'm going to come back to the distinction between some doubts and enough doubts, because I think that it's crucial. Just think about how many times you have criticized someone else in hindsight for their failure to spot a liar. You tell yourself, you should have known. There were all kinds of red flags. You had doubts." Levine would say that that's the wrong way to think about the problem. The right question is, were there enough red flags to push you over the threshold of belief? If there weren't, then by defaulting to truth, you were only being human. Well, maybe you weren't berating other people for this. Maybe you were berating yourself for this. Maybe you have wrestled with why you didn't see the red flags the first time around. How did you miss the signs from someone that you trusted? So here's the basic reality. People default to our own baseline. A person who is generally a truth teller will likely default to the belief that other people are also telling the truth. A person who is generally a user or a deceiver who tells lies is often going to default to the belief that everyone else around them is lying to them. So, when other people can't see the abuse that we've gone through, or someone else won't recognize what's happening around them, you have to give a little compassion for the fact that they have not yet seen enough red flags to push themselves over the cliff of belief to leap off and to understand, because they're just defaulting to their baseline assumption of truthfulness. Not everyone is maliciously refusing to believe that someone else is evil, and oftentimes they're ignoring abuse innocently because they just haven't seen enough red flags and they don't understand. So you have to give them time to be persuaded by the red flags enough to leap off the cliff of belief to recognize the evil of a situation. But as a survivor, you shouldn't have to beat yourself up either with, "I should have known." Because the red flags you missed, even though there may have been some of them, there weren't enough of them, and that just makes you human. Here's another thing. A liar of above average intelligence can weave loops of falsehood around a truth teller of average intelligence who holds above average trust. This is not the fault of the person who is telling the truth, but it is the truth teller's responsibility. That's you and me. It's our responsibility to become wise as well as remaining harmless so that we can recognize the patterns and really take those red flags seriously sooner. People tend to reveal their own baseline of operation by what you accuse others of or what they accuse others of. So if you're realizing that you tend to refuse to see other people's red flags because you can't imagine possibly doing that, that means you're projecting your good conscience onto other people and they don't share your good conscience. And honestly, when you're irritated with someone who hasn't figured it out yet, remember that there was a time when all the red flags weren't enough to push you over the threshold of belief either.